Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Indiana State Coaches Show, live at the corner of Food and Fun. It is a packed house tonight. Thanks so much to everybody. I don't know how many people are actually listening to this thing on the radio. I think everybody's here to hear Coach K tonight, and as well as, of course, head coach Josh Schertz in the second half of the show. We have a great show for you tonight. Not just the voice you're about to hear in Coach K. Maya Glanton is going to join us here in the first 30 minutes of the show as well. Maya's got a heck of a story. Been a really great comeback story, which we'll talk to Coach K more about that here in a moment. And then the second half, we'll have head coach Josh Schertz and Cam Crawford, a freshman who's making an impact on the Sycamore basketball program. So that's what we have for you here tonight. It's our last show in 2021 before we get to January of 2022. So it's going to be the first time, or the last time I should say, in a while that we get to talk here on a Monday night. So we thank you all for joining us here in person as well wherever you are listening to us from across the Indiana State Radio Network. I am Luke Martin alongside Chad Killinger, Jim Osborne back in our DLC Media Center. Coach K, one-on-one week for your group. It started with a game-winning shot against Chicago State halfway through the week. And then I know a game that your team fought back from a 15-point deficit late, nearly had a chance to pull that one out at Holman Center. All in all, how would you describe the last week for your group?
Exciting, yes. I mean, I thought the Chicago State game would be tough just because of the travel that we had gone through the week before. Like, that was a long trip. We got back. Obviously, we had Sunday off. But that was a long week, and so just rebounding from that, turning around, leaving again on Tuesday to go up to Chicago. I knew that would be a tough game, and we didn't play our best there. We talked about that in the locker room afterwards. It's good to be able to win when maybe you don't play your best, whether it's shooting the ball or whatever it may be. So that was a great win. And then obviously just a tough game on Saturday night. I mean, that's what I expect, though. I think that's what the fans should come to expect from our team. It doesn't matter what the score is. We're going to keep playing. We're going to try to get back into it. There's different presses and different things we can use. Obviously, our numbers are a little down right now, so we can't press all the time. But it just gives us hope for the future. For what we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, and the other thing, my next question to you was going to be your injury report, but there's nobody on it. So you're fully healthy. You've had no issues. You've been 100% all the way, right? I mean, there's nothing to even touch on.
It seems like every time somebody comes back, somebody else is gone. So it's Essie's got a concussion, so that's one. You don't know how long she'll be out. Yeah. But then Anna was back today, so she will hopefully be fully cleared for full practice on Thursday and then be able to play in the Nebraska game. So, it's very interesting. We actually practiced. The coaches practiced against the team this morning. I didn't score, so that was a good thing. If I had scored, I would have been a little more nervous.
A little bit more frustrated, a little bit more nervous.
Coach D made a shot. I'll say that. She made a shot.
For your
Coach
group.
Coach Williams is hard to guard in the post, isn't he, Maya?
He'd be a heck of a practice player.
Like Shaq out there.
Yeah, I know. Coach Williams is not easy, which I'm sure Maya will touch up on that.
Don't run into anybody and get anybody else hurt. So.
I know you touched up on it with John Sherman in your pregame conversation on Saturday, but for those that maybe didn't get to hear that, Adrian Folks unfortunately suffered a massive knee injury. She's going to miss the rest of the year. I'm sure that was just such a bummer for you guys because Adrian has been getting off to such a really good start this year.
Yeah, and obviously she's our leading scorer and leading rebounder, and when you lose that, one thing I don't really do with the team is just address injuries. I just think you can put pressure on people to, hey, you set 2 or 3 people down and say, well, you need to score 5 more points. Like, there's no, system for that in terms of this person's got to give us 5 more points or 6 more points or whatever it is. And so I never really addressed that. We just kind of continue to go, move forward, and that's what we've done. And since Adrian's been out, we beat Georgia Southern, we beat Chicago State, we lost to Western Michigan by 1. So I feel like our kids have been very mature when it comes to handling those adverse situations. And I think that's one reason that we have a lot of hope, not just for winning this season, but in the future.
Mentioned the win against Chicago State, 59-58, which Maya had the game-winning shot there late on the putback attempt against the Cougars. And then a little bit more in the Western Michigan game just over the weekend. You get down 15. Of course, right after all those exchanges with the technical fouls and the free throws, it ended up being a 9-point possession for Western Michigan. But yet you guys and your team still found a way to have a shot to win it at the end. How did you feel your team responded to, I know, that difficult stretch there in the third quarter where a very competitive game, back and forth. They get that 9-point swing, but it never seemed to phase your group at all.
Yeah, I think one thing with them, well, one thing I feel like they've bought into is just that it's every possession matters, whether it's the first possession of the game or the last possession of the game, and they know there's a lot of time left on the clock, and that we're going to do things to, again, try to put them in a position to be successful. And you know, after that, you know, before they made the three, you know, I just kind of looked at the kids on the floor and was like, hey, it's time to go. And they're like, we got you, coach, we got you. And you know, obviously we give up that three. It's just a tough rotation within one of the zones we play. Just a little confusion defensively, and that's probably the thing we need to fix the most is just our breakdowns allow for teams to make threes. We don't shoot as many threes as some of our opponents, and so with that being the case, you know, when you're going to be, I don't know, minus 12 from the three-point line, like you have to make up those possessions, and when we don't, when we miss some shots that we should maybe finish around the rim, or we don't make our free throws or something like that, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But you know, I told them also we're probably getting more stops than our opponents are. It's just they're making a few more threes in a few of these games, and so that's been a little bit of the difference. So we guarded the three really well against Jacksonville State, Georgia Southern, and Chicago State, but then we allowed Western Michigan to go 7 for 21. So that 33% is a little higher than what obviously we'd like for it to be. But we got to get some people confident knocking down those shots ourselves. We got kids that we haven't told anybody not to shoot the ball. So.
Chad Killinger is our guest. It's the Indiana State Coaches Show here at the corner of Food and Fun at 7th and Elm Bar and Grill here in Terre Haute. So if you're out driving around, come on by. We'd love to see you. We'll be talking basketball and some hoops here for the next hour. Knowing that you lose someone like Adrian, I know early on this season you're also without Summer Pitzer. And now you mentioned Essie kind of being out with a concussion. You'll get Anna back. But those mean opportunities open, doors open. You're not necessarily meeting with players and say, hey, I need X, Y, and Z from you specifically. But who now has had a bigger role in your last couple of games that you feel like maybe starting to find a good mixture and is somebody that, due to the circumstances, is getting that opportunity a little bit more?
Well, I think Deljanae obviously has stepped up in all these games, just running the point, getting inserted into the starting lineup. She's done a good job with that. You know, we're turning the ball over obviously too much. Part of that is still, I think, learning the system and playing with each other and having different lineups on the floor. But you know, she had 7 steals in the last 2 games, so 14 steals in the last 2 games. So that's, I don't know. I don't think there's a record for individual steals. I don't think. If not, she might have that. But you know, Maya stepped up. I think it's going to be different people throughout the season. Marie's played pretty well. Nat shot the ball really well against Georgia Southern, made a couple threes against Western Michigan. So I feel like it's going to be different people. It's going to be kind of by committee. It's going to be what we feel like we can take advantage of with our opponents. And you know, we did some really good things offensively. They were switching everything. We started finally making some backdoor cuts and seeing some things that we could do to get some easier possessions and take some pressure off the perimeter. And so it was good to kind of see us adjust as we went through that game.
Well, you mentioned the steals in back-to-back games. Are you trying to keep your technical fouls going too? You have one Wednesday, you have one over the weekend.
That's done.
Well, if you ever want to have a joke around Coach Hannes.
I went 90-some games at one point in my career without a technical, just in case anybody wonders. I've never got them in back-to-back games. So.
Well, we always joke on the baseball side, every time we play at Missouri State, it's been 4 years in a row we've had a coach ejected since we've been at Missouri State. But it was Coach Hannes 3 years in a row, but this past year, Brian Smiley saved him. He jumped in and said a little bit of a magic word and a little bit of a magic phrase. I don't know what my assistants are doing over there then. So for your assistants that are listening, maybe somebody just needs to
step up,
get in front of you and help you just a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't know the F word was fine.
For anybody that needs a further explanation of that story, I'm sure Coach K would love to tell you when he gets off of here this segment. We talked about all those players, and Berger specifically. What do you feel like I know this is probably like a bad way to phrase it, but where do you think her ceiling can be and her potential and what she's shown? We can go through the point numbers. I mean, she's been outstanding in her defensive effort, but for you as a coach, for you guys as a staff, when you break down that film, what are things that can make her even better, and how dynamic of a player she really can be for you this year?
Well, I've talked to her. I mean, when I first got here, even just about her goal. You know, she was MVC all freshman team, and I told her, you know, we're going to put all that stuff up on the walls in the office, and so that her name's up there on the wall. And I told her, her goal needs to be that she's an all MVC player. I think she's that good. She's that talented. Just as far as like what she's doing for our team right now, I think mainly it's just going to be figuring out when she needs to score and when she needs to distribute the ball. We're able to play her and Katie together a little bit more. Saturday night, we hadn't done that as much. Georgia Southern and Western Michigan, Chicago State. But I think like that combination of kids, it just kind of depends on who's playing well. Obviously, she's going to get minutes, but I really want her to look at for shooting the three. I think she passed up a couple threes Saturday night, and I'm not one that tries to tell people when not to shoot the ball, because I think you got to have confidence in that catch and shoot, and it's got to be in rhythm. But I also feel like she needs to know that she's got the green light, and I think that takes a little bit of pressure off of her as well.
This week, of course, finals week, that alone is big and enough to make sure you take care of that challenge. But then once you get through this finals week, you got Nebraska coming up on Saturday. And just kind of looking at the Cornhuskers, that next game, right now they're undefeated. They're 8-0 on the year. They do play their Big Ten opener tonight. They will play at Minnesota. Amy Williams, who's their head coach, who was Big Ten Coach of the Year in 2018, she built a power at South Dakota that's continuing to be really good in the Summit League. Right now they average almost 90 points per game. They're only giving up just over 50. It's a 34.2 point differential, Coach. That's the largest in the country. From what you've seen so far, I know those numbers speak volumes, but the challenge that awaits your group here at the end of finals week on Saturday.
Yeah, their team. They're big, but they also shoot the ball very well. So a lot of it's either from the 3-point line or something close to the rim. So we just really got to make them try to force them to shoot that mid range and be ready to challenge those shots. And when they do miss, be ready to get rebounds and use our athleticism to get out and transition and score. And then I think it's really going to be about pace and us understanding when we can play fast and when we need to slow it down. And we've got. I told them this morning we're not going to play Nebraska. We're going to go to try to win the game. Being an underdog is nothing new for me or for any of these young women. So, Coach, just going over there and giving it everything we got, and whatever the result may be, we'll come back and get ready for UIC the next week.
And you brought that up. Yes, you're not going to play Nebraska, but their fan base, I know, is always a rabid fan base, and they always get a lot of great crowds for their games. For your group, though, to go on a road, because when you go on the road in the Valley, there's a lot of fan bases that pack those gyms and will make difficult road environments. Why not? Probably have, no question, probably the biggest environment you've played in all year will be waiting you on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's something. Our whole non-conference schedule has been set up to try and prepare us for what we're going to eventually see in conference play, and that's obviously what we're most concerned about is how we perform once we get to the conference, and so it'll be a great environment. It'll be something our kids can look back on and appreciate being a part of. But at the same time, like I said, we're going to try to win the game. There's a lot of kids that have a lot of pride in what we're trying to do here. All the kids in our program are trying to do everything they can to help us be successful. So I don't want to sell them short in terms of going over there, and we're going to prepare the way we normally prepare. We're going to do everything like we normally would do, and try to go get us a win.
Mentioned earlier when we opened up the show, this is going to be our last coaches show until January of 2022, so next year, but still in this season. So you're going to open up the league play against Drake in Northern Iowa, that road swing. You got a lot of non-conference games to go. I'm not going to ask you to preview that matchup, but for what you want to accomplish from this week to when you do begin league play, and we'll have our first coaches show following that road swing, what's the biggest thing, Coach, you just want to see during this time that you have now here after finals week?
Well, the best ththing about the Drake UNI road swing is that we're getting it done right off the bat, and then we don't have to worry about that being in the middle of conference or anything. But we just want to continue to get better. It's different for every player, what they need to work on, what their strengths are right now, what they can bring to the table for us to have success. And I really feel like as each player individually gets a little bit better, we'll continue to develop as a team and as a program. But if it's easy to sit back and be like, well, we could be 6-1, could be, or 7-1, could be 6-2 kind of thing. But there's a reason we're losing some of these games, and we have to learn from these and be successful when the time comes. And obviously you saw that with Georgia Southern. You saw that with Chicago State. We saw that growth. Even against Western Michigan, we may not have won. I got home. we shake hands and I just go right out the tunnel the other way, like I just go out. And, I got home and we were sitting there talking about the game. My wife was like, "Do you know you guys got a standing ovation?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "You got a standing ovation." And I was like, "That's awesome," And then I don't even know if some of our girls realized it because I mentioned it this morning. I'm like, "You guys know you got a standing ovation, just for your effort." I'm like, people appreciate that. And the fact, and I told them, I'm like, that's what the fans want. They want that effort. They understand our situation, where we're at, being in the first year. But I honestly almost feel like we've fast-forwarded a year in terms of our development of our program, because a lot of times you put together the schedule we put together, people expect maybe us to get beat by some of these teams or get beat worse by some of these teams. In my opinion, we've maybe played one bad game, and that was Western Michigan. So outside of that game, I feel like we've really been competitive. We've shown up, give our best effort, and I think everybody appreciates that. And that's one thing I wanted to, coming back home to Indiana, I know people appreciate good basketball and effort and all the work that goes into it, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Indiana State. But for our girls to see that and understand, it's making a difference, how they're playing, their approach is making a difference, is going to just continue to build. And then as we start winning, some of these games, especially at home, I want to defend our home court, obviously. Yeah. But as we start winning some of those games, then more people are going to show up, and it'll kind of steamroll from there.
We'll get you out of here on this note before we welcome Maya to the show. Maya has had a long road of recovery when she finally got back and was able to play last year. What she meant to your team really this year, but more so to allow her to have the type of night that she had just the other night, setting career highs both in points and rebounds, was by far the biggest heartbeat, it seemed like, of your team, along with Berger.
Yeah, she plays with enthusiasm. I don't know if anybody saw the Chicago State. That may have been the hardest fist pump I've seen after she made that shot and stomped her foot and gave us that fist pump. I didn't even notice it because the shot went in, and I just turned and went to shake hands. Yeah. Everybody else was celebrating. I didn't even see the celebration until after the game, which I thought was incredible. Seeing that joy on their faces and how excited they were, and how, not just excited to win, but how excited they were for Maya to make that shot and everything. I thought was really incredible to see. But she just shows up every day and does what we ask her to do. And that was a point we made to the team today was, what does Maya do, within the game to get those points, to get those rebounds and everything, and they really weren't quite sure what she did. And then we were like, she just does what we work on. She keeps it simple. She does the moves we work on with in the post. She goes and rebounds we want you guys to follow up every shot and rebound, and just doing those simple things. And obviously she's very blessed as far as athleticism goes, but really proud of her for just continuing to move forward every day. And I think that's the one thing with this team, we're going to move forward every day, win or lose. We're going to show up the next day and try to be better. And, today's practice could have been really intense, and I could have been really mad about losing that game, but we just went in and went to work and tried to get better, not just from a player perspective, but staff perspective and everything. So I think just the fact that she shows up every day and works as hard as she does is why she's benefiting and been a starter. We kind of flirted around with Ariana Smith starting as well, but Maya's earned that spot, and she deserves to be starting. So I'm excited to see her produce the way she's produced. She's had career highs, I think, 3 or 4 different times. So, and it was if you can have a quiet 22 points and 16 rebounds, I think maybe in the quietest. Because after the game was over, I was like, is this right? I just didn't realize how much she was cleaning up. She's cleaning up misses. Yeah. But it's wow.
No question. Looking forward to talking to Maya here next on the show.
More shots. Can you block some shots?
Well, you can communicate that to her as you walk away here tonight. Coach Killinger, thank you so much for the time. Good luck, not just this weekend against Nebraska. We'll all be listening. Again, that game will tip off at 2 o'clock Eastern. You can listen to John Sherman, who will be on the call right here on 105.5 The Legend with the 1:45 pregame show on Saturday. Coach, good luck to you, and we'll catch up over the next couple weeks.
Hope everybody has a good holiday season. Merry Christmas to everybody.
No question. That was Coach K. When we come back, Maya Glanton is our guest. This is the Indiana State Coaches Show, live from 7th and Elm Bar and Grill at the corner of Food and Fun on 105.5 The Legend. Welcome back to the corner of food and fun here at the 7th and Elm Indiana State Coaches Show. Big thank you to Chad Killinger for joining us just a moment ago. Get Indiana State getting ready for Nebraska this weekend. Maya Glanton, who is now our guest, redshirt sophomore from East St. Louis. She's getting ready for finals. Yay, finals, right, Maya? How many of those do you have this week?
2.
2. That's not too bad. When's your first one? Have you already had it?
No, I haven't had it yet. It's really just a project, though, so it's
okay.
Not,
Well,
it's
that
not
doesn't
too bad.
really
I don't have
count.
to present it, so.
Okay, that's even better. No presentations here for you this week in your finals week. Maya, as I mentioned, it's so many may not know it's been a long road of recovery for you. It was a long road heading into last year for you. Take us back to when you really had, I believe it was a knee injury, right? And how long it took you to really get back to really feeling 100%.
Yeah, I got injured my freshman year, like right the day before official practice. I got injured ACL. I got surgery like really quickly because I just wanted to get it out the way. My recovery process was longer than usual because of the pandemic. So, like, when I was supposed to go hard in the weight room, I was at home. Like, I was at home FaceTiming my trainer every day, doing little stuff with, like, a little 10-pound weight or something, just trying to, like, not trying to degress, you know. And once I got back, I had to come back a month early that summer just to, like, get back on track. And, you know, that was long. I'm lifting weight, trying to lift a little heavier than what I'm supposed to and all types of stuff, just trying to get back to 100%. And, you know, once I was 100% clear, it still was, like, you know, scary. I haven't jumped in so long. I'm not, like, used to getting contact no more. And it was a process. But once I stopped thinking about it, that was it. It was go from there.
How big was, you know, you mentioned one of your athletic trainers. I know Kaylee was a big part of that. The support staff here, the athletic training staff here, how massive were they in terms of your recovery and how much help they were? Granted, as you mentioned, you had to throw in the pandemic during the time of trying to make a recovery too.
They were really helpful because, you know, when you're coming back from that was my first, like, real injury. Like, growing up, I was never out from basketball for longer than a week, you know, a little ankle sprain or something. So, like, I'm out for a year completely, like, out, and it really was a mental process I had to get through, you know, and I had a lot of people to talk to, coaches. My trainer, Kaylee, at the time, she was really a big help because she's seen everything. Like, she's seen when the treatments or the progression got boring, because it gets boring. You start doing the same stuff every single day. You just go to class, go to treatment, and then you just go home, and it just gets really tedious. And, you know, she held me up. My teammates held me up, you know, like, Maya, you got this. You coming back. You gonna be better than ever, you know. Just that little bit of encouragement helps you just keep pushing.
Coach K brought up just the remarkable game that you had over the weekend, but the remarkable week. Take us back to the game-winning shot in Chicago. One, you missed the initial one, but able to get the putback. I'm sure just the emotions of just that final play and what the emotions were like for you.
Yeah. So when the first one left my hand, I kind of knew I pushed it a little too hard because I don't know. I was just trying to get it off quickly, and then I'm like, wait, it's a lot of time left. And once I knew it was missing, I was like, yeah, nobody's getting this but me. Nobody but me is getting this. Like, I was going to get that. I couldn't see nobody in front of me. I ain't see nobody but the ball. That was it. I had to get it up, and I was just trying to hurry up and put it up because I knew it wasn't that much time. It was time, but it wasn't that much time.
Yeah, I think Coach K in the back, when you said there was plenty of time, you know, I'm sure the heart was probably racing just a little bit too much for Coach K. But as we mentioned, 22 points and 16 rebounds. That's what you had against Western Michigan. I know it was a loss, but you think of last year for you, granted your first full year back, you only had 2 games of 7 rebounds or more all of last season. You've already had 2 of that this year. Your last 3 games, you have 26 rebounds in the last 3 games. Your season high last year in terms of points was 6. We mentioned your 20-plus just the other night. What for you, Maya, other than just getting more time? I know that's important, just getting more reps, getting more comfortable, getting more healthy too. But what else do you credit as, man, this is why I really feel like I'm playing my best basketball at the right time?
I feel like the game is, like, more simplified for me now. Like Coach said, I just try to do like what they tell me to do. Like I'm not gonna go and try to do nothing that I can't do. Like I'm not gonna take a shot unless I'm in a rhythm. I'm not gonna do something that I'm not gonna force anything. Like I'm just gonna do what I have to do. Like I want always to put my team in the best position. And I don't want to take any shot that's going to mess up this possession. Like, he's taught us now that, like, every possession matters. It's never really been broken down that much for me to, like, really see, like, how much every possession in the game matters, whether it's defense or offense. So now I'm like, everything matters. I'm not going to go take a bad shot, especially if I know I can't be the one that gets the rebound. Like, I'm not going to do that. And it's helped me. It's helped me to, like, just simplify everything and just be calm, patient about everything.
Caitlyn Anderson is somebody you're able to play AAU with before you got here. How important of a friend has she been, and what it means to be able to continue to play with her here at the Division I level?
Yeah, it's been great. We still think about old AAU moments and stuff like that. It's good to bring that sense of home here. Because it's really not far, but I still don't get to go home as much. So it's good to bring that sense of home here and just be around somebody that I knew from back then.
Coach Killinger brought up, he doesn't really address all of you as a team of, look, we're without X, Y, and Z. We don't have this tonight. It's just you guys as a team. Despite knowing you're missing some key pieces, I know you feel bad for Adrian. You feel bad for Essie right now that she's going to miss some time. But overall, just for you as being a member of the team, how much of the mindset is we got to keep going. And, we're a team. It's all of us together. We got to be, the whole sum's got to be greater than the individual parts.
Right. Honestly, we don't really address those type of things. Like, we go and, like, we care for the person that's injured and, like, we're there for them. We let them know that. But, like, as a team, I just feel like we're at that point where we just know that we have to do this together. Like we've been, all of us in this team has been in situations, been against adversity before. We may not have been good at actually facing it, but I feel like as every game goes, we're getting better and better at facing adversity, and we just are like really, it's us against everyone right now. It's us against everyone right now, and I feel like we're really buying into that.
Maya, not only is everybody buying into it, it's clear you've bought into it, and it's been so much fun to see your progression this year and all the results that you've been able to have. The best part is, though, there's a lot of basketball left. There's more for you to continue to accomplish. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Once again, that was Maya Glanton. Yes, give her a round of applause. She deserves it. We're going to take a break. When we come back here on the Indiana State Coaches Show, Josh Schertz joins us in the second half with the Indiana State men's basketball portion of the program. This is Indiana State basketball and the Indiana State Coaches Show on 105.5 The Legend. Huge thank you again to Coach Killinger, Maya Glanton, for joining us on the Indiana State women's side of the Indiana State Women's Coaches Show. It's now time to flip it over to Sycamore basketball on the men's side. And, well, that wasn't exciting. Was it over the weekend? Not all? No energy? Nothing at all. It was very easy coaching for this guy on Saturday in Holman Center. Sycamores get the win over Miami of Ohio. A 1-1 week for Indiana State after falling earlier in the week in Loyola. Great effort on the road against the Ramblers to open up Valley play. Coach Schertz, appreciate the time, and I know especially for you to be here with some special people here in the crowd tonight.
Yeah, I did want to, we had a night here where I got to recognize somebody that, it's not often you have a special guest at the radio show, but somebody who's returned to the program really gave us credibility in the community. It was resonated nationwide. I think it really kind of established a foundation for which we can build on. And so I want to welcome Kenny Jordan in here. His return as our GA. And he's got a freshly minted mustache, looking very nice. Went from the goatee to a very nice stash. So looks fantastic. And just that return was everything else. That was huge. Social media, everything. You didn't do an interview with him. It was a little disappointing.
No, he was bummed.
He was bummed. Tyreek got interviewed. Kenny didn't. He was a little jealous of that. But listen, it is what it is.
And the other side of that, too, is that's why he hasn't gone any walks with me recently, too. So he didn't get a video.
Didn't get a video, no walk. But you know what? He's at least, I'll say this to his credit, he's contributing more than Tyreek this year to our success. So, at least we're getting some contributions from that. So thanks, Kenny.
All right, Coach Key. I hope you heard that. Maybe you need to step up your scouting reports.
He's got a chance tomorrow morning. We'll see what he does at 9 a.m. We'll see what he does.
We will for sure. Coach, again, what an exciting day it was on Saturday. I know for you guys, maybe not making a ton of shots there midway in the second half, but you get those 10 consecutive stops in a row. You find a way there late to take a lead, and it went back and forth and was an exciting basketball game. And luckily, just not enough time left on the clock for that last shot to count.
Yeah, it was. I thought we showed a lot of growth in different areas. That's the thing with this team. There's going to be, we've talked about it. Ideally, growth occurs behind the scenes, right, and behind closed doors, and nobody notices it. And in a perfect world, guys like Cam Crawford and those young guys are redshirting, not having to play significant minutes. Simon Wilbar, these guys are, working, and they got veteran guys ahead of them that are showing them the way. But that's just not the way it's worked out this year. So our growth is going to happen in real time, and it's going to happen inside of games, and it's not always going to be linear, unfortunately. But I was really, from our standpoint of being in a close game against a really good team, and that team beat Georgia Tech. That team lost to Cincinnati. Should have beat Cincinnati, lost by 1 point, and they missed a shot at the buzzer to win the game, at a layup to win the game to beat Cincinnati. That's a really, really good mid-major that has a chance to win the MAC, and we're in a game where, we've had trouble absorbing those droughts offensively, and we were able to sit down, and while we were generating good shots, we were able to and not making them, we were able to continue to guard, continue to fight defensively, string together stops. And so when the lid finally did come off and we started to stick a few shots, we were down 8, not down 28, and that's a big difference from Oklahoma, from New Mexico State, and that shows growth in terms of our our mental toughness. We're starting to understand a little bit better offensively what we want to do. We're starting to understand better, I think, defensively what we want to do. We went from, we had fouled, I think, the opponents had shot about 30 free throws the last 3 games, about that. Each one was 31, 29, I think, and around 28, 29. So Miami of Ohio, we put them on the free throw line 7 times in the whole game. And so that's growth. Not fouling on layups, offensively, playing through and getting different layers of our action, being more disciplined with our shot selection, and things that you have to learn to become a good team. The whole key to winning, to me, is eliminating losing. You have to kind of stop beating yourself. And we too often early in the year were doing things to beat ourselves. But that was a huge step forward for us in terms of our growth. And I thought, again, the defensive end job Cam Crawford did on their leading scorer, Dede Grant, was held to 4 points and did a phenomenal job. And he looked like, just his growth. Think about where he was against Ball State, where he looked like, I told him he looked like he had, was a high school freshman, walked into the, into a varsity game, had no idea what he was doing, and he was completely overwhelmed and outmatched. And then there he was, playing against Miami of Ohio and was fantastic. So it was really good to see him and, do that. And then across the board, I thought we had a lot of guys step up and play really well for us.
The other aspect, too, which I don't know those in attendance knew, I looked this up. I wish it was something I noticed and added for the pregame show on Saturday. It counted the game Saturday, too, but Miami's starting 5 had a combined 444 career games. That's all at the Division I level. You just take the combined D1 career games of your starting 5, it was 117.
Yeah.
The difference, so not just Miami, that's a team that had a lot of guys, and give credit to Coach Owens and his staff. They have so many guys that have stayed with that program. They haven't hit the portal. They haven't transferred. They stayed. They played well. That's why they're in position to be a top 100 Ken Palm team. They were right on the fringe until you beat them over the weekend. That's going to be a really good team because they have something that your team's trying to get, and that's experience.
Right, yeah, no, experience matters, and out of those 117, I bet, the vast majority of those
95 are Coop.
95 are Coop, there you go. So I would say that was almost 100% one person. So,
yes.
We're learning on the fly, and that's okay. We've talked about with these guys in the beginning, no excuses, no crutches. Let's expedite the learning curve. Let's not have anything we're leaning on that, hey, we just can't because we're too young or, we're not experienced enough. And, unfortunately, there's only one way to get experience. We had a long talk, going into, I don't remember what game it was, but I think it was going to Loyola, and the talk was, about the difference between having knowledge and having wisdom, right? And that knowledge is understanding. Knowledge is knowing something. Wisdom is application of knowledge, right? It's taking the knowledge that you have, and just because you're knowledgeable doesn't mean you're wise. If you have the same experiences and you don't learn the proper lesson from them, you don't apply the knowledge, then you're just basically in the same boat. And so our group has to, we have some hard-won wisdom. We've seen some things that we've, probably, could do better. And I saw steps forward there on Saturday. Even had we lost the game, it's the difference, coaches, that's why I'm not very outcome-oriented. I'm much more process, but I understand that most everybody is outcome-oriented. But like that shot being a second late or a second, if it was a second earlier and we had lost the game, all the good we did still would have been good. And all the bad stuff we did still would have been equally as bad. It doesn't erase the previous 39 minutes, 59 seconds. And so we have to go back and look at everything technically and try to take the experience, learn from it, grow from it. It would have, stunk had the shot count had been a second earlier. I don't know who's doing the scorekeeping at home, by the way. That was the longest 1.6 seconds in the history of mankind. I would still be 25 if we counted the way that I'd have hair if we were counting that way. I mean, it's unbelievable, like how long that took for it to be deflected, bounce up, bounce. I was like, there's no way. And there's no way that's 1 second. But yeah, so I did see some growth, and the growth was in the wisdom of, okay, we're trying to apply the things we're learning. And we've played a great schedule, the best schedule by far in the Valley. I think one of the top 30 schedules in the country. We've played a really hard schedule with a really young team. 4 of our top 7 players in the rotation are freshmen. Another one's a sophomore, and we have 2 juniors. And so there's a process, and part of that process, I think, is pain is part of that path, right? And you have to get scarred through competition, and you get scarred by doing things that lead to losing and learning from those things. And then as you get scarred through competition, you grow and you develop, and then you come through the other side. And that's what we talked about going into Miami, Ohio. I said, you want to stop this streak, it's got to be a kind of whatever it takes mentality, and nothing better in team sports than to play a really good team, be challenged, be pushed to the limit, and find a way through that together. And now that builds some confidence and allows them to know, hey, you can beat really good teams if you do these things.
Look, I understand you're focused on your team and your unit alone. You're not necessarily looking at it from a league scope, but it was something I actually was just looking up earlier today, and I saw at the Valley's RPI as a league, which it's whatever metrics. There's a lot of different metrics you can look at. Right now, the Missouri Valley Conference RPI is at 23. And if you look at since 2002, the lowest the Valley ever was 13 at that time. So at 23 right now, heading into the league. And a lot of that is strength of schedules and going throughout the league. But as a coach in the league, granted, you're focused on your team. I know you're not necessarily focused on what your metrics are and what your resume looks at. But is that something as the league maybe should worry those throughout? Because I know there was a lot of conversation into this year. Man, it's going to be a multi-bid league. It's going to be a really good league. But right now, unfortunately, just the metrics aren't always showing that at this point.
Yeah, there's so many, in Division I, there's so many different metrics. You got the net, and you got the RPI, and you got the Ken Palm, and I know the net's a big thing, and that just came out today, I guess, as well. And kind of there's, I guess 3 teams in the top 75, and then, there's, I think, or maybe 2 teams, and there's 3 of us. I think we're 5th in the net in the league. I think what happened to a lot of teams is there was like Valparaiso, obviously Drake playing out Roman Penn. I don't know. We lost somebody. I can't remember who was not playing. It was somebody important, though. It was somebody who I can't. But anyway, we lost somebody.
Not really that big of a.
It was Kamari Peterson, I think, is who it was. That came back to me. Kamari Peterson not been able to play. So, but teams haven't had their full allotment and complement of players, and you can't account for that. And so, like Crakey and those different guys for Valparaiso, I think Kobe King just got back, got cleared, and Roman Penn's out for Drake, and there's been these different guys, and so. Some of that is that, and some of it is just AJ Green kind of getting reacclimated back in, right, from missing a year. So, but I think the league is strong. I do think that there's probably a little more parity than what people like the first that first block of games. There wasn't a game that wasn't close down the wire. I mean, I think our game with Loyola was a 1-possession game inside of 4 minutes, and I think most every game was a 1-possession game inside of 4 minutes. So it just shows that I think that people thought the league there'd be this great separation between the top 3 or 4, where it was like Loyola, Drake, Northern Iowa, Missouri State, and then there was this block of Southern Illinois and Bradley, and then it was and I don't think that those tiers exist. I think there's much more parity, and it means everybody's margin's going to be small, and you gotta really be sharp to have chances to win. But I think for the teams that are fighting for an at-large, yeah, you're probably a little concerned going, man, you know, this wasn't the non-conference we hoped for. For me and us at Indiana State, we're going, man, this is good because we got a chance, you know, we're going to be, you know, people are saying, oh, I mean, we were, and not that it matters, I mean, we were picked, you know, ninth with Tyreek. You know, that was with Tyreek, you know, so we know where we would have been picked without him. There's only one more spot, thankfully, but we would have been picked there. And so, you know, so for us, it's an encouraging thing that we knew. Because I told the guys that when we came back, I said, look, probably out of the 18 conference games, that's the hardest one, most people would say. Against Loyola at their place would be the hardest of the 18. And we know we were right there. And we have these mistakes. We can clean these things up. If that's the hardest, and we did all this, and we were within a one-possession game under 4 minutes to go, you know, we got a chance if we can get better, and then that's where we've really turned our focus.
Before we turn to Cam Crawford and bring him on the show to close it out, you know, I want to talk about North Dakota State. That's your next opponent this weekend. They do have 2 games this week, so you get a chance to kind of watch them play twice before you do. But to give perspective, how hard it is to go into the Shields Center and win. They are 12-1 in their last 13 non-conference home games. They're 33-6 in their last 39 home games. They've been really good at home. They kind of have a similar storyline. Sam Griesel, their best player, he got hurt before the year got started. Very similar, as you mentioned, as Kwamari Peterson, right? Not Tyreek Key,
no.
But no, with Tyreek. But this is a team in North Dakota State too, and everybody that's been in Terre Haute knows the Bison really good at football, right? Well, don't forget their basketball program has been really good. They're a last-second shot from beating Oral Roberts, which they went on a little bit of a run in the NCAA tournament.
A little bit.
If they would have made that shot, they would have been in basically 3 NCAA tournaments in the last 3 years. Of course, the pandemic canceled the one in 2020. But this is a Bison basketball program that is on the trajectory up, and Coach Richmond's done a really good job.
Done a fantastic job there. I'm just kind of starting in on them, you know, haven't dove deep just because we have this break, and I'm more focused.
You have a break?
on Usher. Yeah, well, kind of. I'm more focused. I'm, you know, right now our attention for the next couple of days will be on Indiana State and what we can do, and then we'll kind of turn to them. But in terms of watching them, the first thing that jumps out is, gosh, are they big? I mean, they start a 6'11" and a 6'10", and they both can shoot it, and they drive it, and they spread you out. Their point guard's 6'5". You're trying to figure out, you know, how we're gonna, you know, match up and who guards who, and they are massive and great at home. It's a really hard place to play. I told Miss Vicky I'm looking forward to getting out of this weather, getting to Fargo, so I can warm up a little bit. It's pretty cold. It's pretty chilly out here today, I got to be honest.
You know where North Dakota is located, right? Yeah.
Sunshine State, I believe they call it, so we should be good. But you know, we'll, you know, it's going to be a really, really difficult test. But the biggest thing is just how big they are and how well they shoot it. They're one of the top teams in the country. They're top 40 in the country in percentage of three-point attempts. I mean, they spread you. And even though those guys are 6'11" and 6'10", they shoot as many threes they do too. And Rocky, I think it's Rocky Kuster, I don't know.
Cruiser,
yep. Yeah. He's phenomenal. One of the best bigs I've seen. I mean, he can play inside, play outside. And again, you know, he's mobile. He's kind of what we hope that eventually Simon could evolve into is, you know, that he really shoots it, really mobile. Simon's obviously, you know, way younger. I think Rocky's a senior.
Yep.
You know, he's 3 years older, but that's what we think he could evolve into. But Rocky's as good a big. I mean, even the Groves at Oklahoma, I mean, his ability to stretch, post, drive the ball, they do a terrific job. They don't turn it over, and they absolutely shoot the eyes out of it. They'll be a tremendous challenge for us. I mean, they got to guard us too. So those big guys got to get out and move their feet and guard us. We're going to have to figure out a way to guard them as well.
Yeah, I want to do it with you also before we get to Cam Crawford. You know, last week you kind of made a comment of, you know, fans are with you win and win, and you got supporters who are with you win and loss. Well, I also think there's another added element into there where you have family. It's a part of your program, and I hope they don't mind me sharing this tonight, but Tom and Mary Hellman, this is their actually last coaches show where they're going to be the owners here of 7th and Elm.
Really?
And Tom and Mary have not just been fans, supporters, they've really been family to not just this show. It's been great to host this show the last couple of years because of all the access that they've allowed to us, all the support that they've not just shown Sycamore basketball, Sycamore football, but Indiana State athletics. On behalf of everybody with Indiana State Athletics, Tom and Mary, thank you. And I know for someone like you, Coach Shirts, I know Coach Killinger in the back. I know they didn't know I was doing that either, so I wanted to surprise them for that. I hope they don't mind that. Well, like you mentioned, you have a lot of great supporters here, but I know you have a lot of supporters that are family.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, they were my first meeting here. Danny took me, I think one of my first days I was here, and we had lunch here at 7th and Elm, and kind of was right back in the very maybe end of March, very beginning of April. So they were first people I met coming in here, and have just been unbelievable since. And yeah, this place. That's, I've said it many times, but that's the part of Indiana State that's, to me, by far the coolest. Like, the Division I stuff, I don't, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I like coaching. It doesn't matter what level or stuff. The coolest thing is the community and how they support the players and how much they care. And you do have, and there's nothing wrong with being a fan. I mean, like I said, fans are different. Supporters are different. And, I'm, really, really blessed beyond what I deserve from that standpoint. And obviously, my own family, that's a huge part of this. And with me, obviously Natalia, by my side every step of the way. And so I'm lucky beyond, like I said at the press conference, I have a lot of, a lot of things that didn't work out my way, height and hair, weight, genetics, a lot of genetic things that did not fall my way, but man, did I get that lucky in the areas that really matter. So,
Coach Shirts, appreciate the time. Good luck this week against the Bison. Of course, it's the last time we'll get a chance to talk to you here until January 2022. But we'll have plenty. We'll still talk. Okay.
I was missing that. I was hoping, man. Wow, it got me excited. I was like, I don't have to do media for the next couple of weeks.
I know. Amazing. Get a little bit of a break. Seriously, Coach Shirts, thank you so much, and appreciate the time. And look forward to talking to Cam Crawford here next.
Sounds great. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate
Once
you guys.
again, that was head coach Josh Shirts, and a big thank you to Tom and Mary as well, as we highlighted. Cam Crawford, the freshman's coming on up. Don't go anywhere. This is the Indiana State Coaches Show, live from 7th and Elm Bar and Grill on 105.5 The Legend. Gotta save the best for last, right? Here on the Indiana State Coaches Show. Big thank you to Jim Osborne back in our DLC Media Center for our board hopping tonight, as he always does. Big thank you to Josh Shirts, Chad Killinger, and Maya Glanton, who joined us early on in the program. Now it is the freshman, Cam Crawford, who is our guest. Cam, good to see you. I was joking with the crowd as you were coming on. I don't know why I picked you for this. I'm kind of nervous because you're just a guy that just doesn't like to talk, right?
Yeah, I'm a little quiet. So I'll see what I can do for you.
I think you'll be just okay. Cam, as we had many discussions heading into the year of just expectations for you, of course, before Tyreek got hurt, Coach Shirts said it. This would be a year you'd be redshirting. There wouldn't be as much playing time for you. But your mindset, when you got here over the summer, what was the expectation internally that you had just for yourself?
I would just say getting a little bit better every day, just working on the little stuff, whatever the coaches told me I needed to do. Buying into whatever my role was going to be, because, I did think I was going to be redshirted coming in, but, you just got to be ready for whatever. And we've had some injuries this year that have presented opportunities for me and some other guys that might not have had the chance this year, and I've just been trying to take advantage of those opportunities.
You mentioned taking advantage of those opportunities when the news came out, or when you guys were told, hey, Tyreek's not going to be able to go. I'm sure your first reaction is, man, you just feel for Tyreek and feel bad for him. But when was kind of the process going of, well, I was going to redshirt. Now I may have the opportunity to get a little bit of PT.
I would say, even after he got the injury, I was still kind of thinking, I'm probably still going to redshirt. They're going to redshirt me. And then as we got closer to Rose Holman, it was like,
you're going to start.
Yeah, ZB said he was like, you're going to start. So I was like, all right. It's basketball. I've been doing it since I was 3, so I'm just going to go out and try and have some fun.
You mentioned basketball has been such a big part of your life. What do you remember as the first introduction to the game, and why basketball has been the sport for you? Because I know you've been a multi-talented guy and a very athletic guy growing up in Alabama.
I couldn't tell you my earliest memory of basketball because since I was born, it's been basketball, honestly. There's so many baby pictures of me, and I always had a ball in my hand, or I had a shirt with basketball. It was something with basketball. So I played a lot of sports growing up, but basketball was really my first love. And it's not always like I was the best at it or anything. I just really enjoyed it. It was a team sport. Like Coach Shirt says, it's really the ultimate team sport. So I would say that's probably one of the things I enjoy most about it.
One of the things when you're a freshman, sometimes you could be a little bit timid just because everything is new, especially for your level, to jump up to the Division I and specifically in the Missouri Valley Conference. But you don't look like you're a guy that's really timid out there. Where do you get your confidence from? What do you credit that to? I'm sure some of that is just through your own work ethic.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of the work ethic and also having teammates that believe in me and the coaching staff that believes in me and is just instilling positive things in me and giving me confidence. And, I mean, if it's not that, then it's the work ethic from knowing that, I'm in the gym, put in the work, so just got to go out and the results will show.
Every time we do an interview, I always feel like I got to shout out my mom.
Yeah.
She's,
shout
I
out
know,
my mom.
a huge supporter for you. And I know everybody, moms are always special for all of us. But for you, what is it that makes just your mom special in your relationship? And I know, I believe she was able to surprise you for like the Rose-Hulman game, able to come up and see you play and make your first start in an exhibition game.
Yeah, my mom, she's just my rock. Her and my grandma, they've been my everything since I was born. I lived with my mom and grandma until I was 8. Like my mom was in school, so my grandma really took care of me, and she would, pick me up from school. I'd do work in the workbook before she let me go outside and play. But just they've been my people, my two people that I've always had with me. My mom, up until I got here, she hadn't missed a basketball game since I was 3. Travel ball, like school, everything. So, I mean, I'm just forever thankful for everything that she and my grandmother have done for me.
I'm a little disappointed because, yes, clap for sure. I mean, Coach Shirts hasn't lended his private jet for your mom to make every game. I mean, I thought the ISU private jet would be a thing.
I don't know what's up with that. My grandma actually asked me about that last night.
Yeah, no kidding. I know Coach Shirts is asking about that too. Cam, you make your first. You think of the impact for you. You had those starts early. You get the start at Purdue. You get that experience in, and then kind of, I don't want to say playing time went away in a lot. But you also had to earn it back in practice. And recently, you've been playing your best. And you hit those big threes against Loyola. But it was your defensive effort and your rebounding ability that Coach Shirts highlighted to me after the game on Saturday. Where have you grown the most just in terms of this season for you?
I would say just being willing to do whatever the team needs. And, I mean, like Saturday, Cam Henry had it going early. He was putting up the points for us. And that just wasn't my job. My job was to guard. They had 2 really good guards. So just try and contain them, stay in front of them, and then rebound, finish the possession. So I just playing my role.
I feel like for a freshman sometimes playing defense may not be one of the most enthusiastic things to do. I know you want to score it. I know you want to put the ball through the hoop. But what about the defensive side have you really bought into? And especially for you guys as a team, I think you guys know you guys can score. But in order to get to where you want to go, it's going to be what kind of stops you can get on the defensive side.
If we're being honest, it's the pullover. I asked Coach Shirts about the light blue pullovers that the coaches wear, if I can get one of those. And he was like, if you can guard somebody, I'll see what I can do. So that's what it was.
What is it with you and light blue? Because you saw my baby blue on Saturday, and you said the same thing.
Look, I came from Spain Park High School. We were
I was
blue
baby
and white,
blue.
so blue is my favorite color. So anything blue, I'm all for it.
Well, you're really going to like the baby blue uniforms
Yeah.
whenever we get the opportunity to rock those again. Cam, what's been your favorite part about the team and the guys you've been able to get to know and build bonds with? Because the start of this year, as we mentioned, going into the Loyola game, those last 23 days, counting the Loyola trip, you were on the road with your team for 15 of them and some sort of travel. So that's a lot of time on the road and a lot of time to talk and get to know your teammates. What have you enjoyed most just about your teammates?
Just the personalities. There's a lot of different personalities on the team. We got quiet guys. We got guys that laugh and joke a lot. We got some serious guys. And I just like to have fun. I feel like we have a team that has fun, but we can get serious when we need to, lock in when we need to. So just being around those guys, like it's the little stuff, being on the planes with them, on the bus rides with them, in the locker room, pregame, stuff like that. That's all the stuff that you're going to remember. So just doing all the little things with those guys.
I can't let you go without talking about a key relationship on your team. I'm sure everybody knows this is little Cam. We got big Cam Henry, but he also calls you his son.
Yeah.
So I guess that's your dad here on the team.
So to speak.
What's been the connection been like with Cam Henry? Because I know both of you guys, and you'd even text me from time to time. I'm going to be big Cam soon, Luke. I'm going to be big Cam soon.
It's Cam. Cam's going to get me to be big Cam. It's the weights. But from the day I got here, May 31st, Cam Henry was already here, and we were actually staying in the same apartments in the UAs. And I don't know, we just started talking, and I think I had a workout later that afternoon. He was there, and it just grew from that. Like we just clicked off the rip. We like to hang out, and he's been what's the word? He's been very helpful for me, like on the court, just because we kind of have similar builds. Like obviously he's a little bit stronger than me, but we're both tall, lanky, long arms, and so he's just trying to help me with the little stuff that he might not have had as a freshman. So I really appreciate him for that. And then our friendship off the court is one of a kind for sure.
I don't want to say that you guys don't have expectations, because you do. I mean, the obvious expectation is to keep getting better and to keep improving. But after you win a game in the fashion that you guys do on Saturday, thrilling fashion down to the very end, Cam, what can that do in terms of, not necessarily confidence, and not that you guys need an energy boost. You guys never felt like, being around you guys, it never seemed like it was a team on a 4-game skid. I've been around teams on 4-game skids and skids that are longer than that, and you could tell. You guys, your energy level never dipped. But, man, you win a game like that on Saturday, it feels like that can only take you further.
Yeah, it's definitely something to build off of. Like Coach Scherr says, we did a lot of good that game, and there was some bad, but there's a lot that we can build off of, and it's always better to win or to learn from a win than a loss. So
I'm not going to ask you to do one here in front of everybody, but in terms of your teammates, where did they rank your impression of Coach Scherr's with everybody else? Because I know all of you did impressions of Coach Scherr's before the season started. What was it up towards the top? Was it one of the worst? You don't have to do it right now. Just where did you rank within your teammates?
I was probably in the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Honestly,
we'll have to get a fact checker on that, because I think the pressure's getting to them.
That might be it.
Yes, I think the pressure's getting to them just a little bit. Cam, before we let you go, it's your first finals week, right? I know you had finals in high school, but your first finals in college. How many finals you have? What are you trying to do to balance, of course, the basketball side of it? But no, once you get through this week and you take care of your academics, it's basically going to be basketball 24/7 for you guys up until the start of league play.
Yeah, I've got 4 finals out of 5 classes. So I'm really just trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And know once, my last 2 are tomorrow, so once I finish those, then I'll be done. And it's just focusing on basketball for a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to, well, of course, be on the road again yet this weekend, but at least you get through all of your academics and it can be focused on basketball kind of full-time this weekend. Cam, it's been so much fun to get to know you this year. Thank you so much for hopping on the show, spend some time with us, and look forward to seeing you continue to grow here during your time as a Sycamore, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Once again, that was Cam Crawford. Big thank you to Cam for joining us here on the show, as well as all of us and all of those that joined the show tonight. Josh Schertz, Chad Killinger, and Maya Glanton. That does it for the Indiana State Coaches Show tonight. Again, the next broadcast you can hear won't be until Saturday of Indiana State Athletics. That'll be when John Sherman will be on the call. It will be Indiana State and Nebraska. So the Sycamores and Cornhuskers pregame will be at 1:45 right here on 105.5 The Legend, until the men on next Monday night, will be in Fargo, North Dakota, taking on the North Dakota State Bison. Again, one final time here from 7th and Elm. Again, thank you to Tom and Mary Hellman for all they have done for the Indiana State Coaches Show, as well as Indiana State Athletics over the years. Definitely going to miss them. We're still going to be here, by the way, in January. It's just going to be a little different with Tom and Mary and their whole family not being at the top of the food chain. But that does it for Tom and Mary Hellman. For everybody with Indiana State basketball and Indiana State athletics, I am Luke Martin saying so long from 7th and Elm. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you this weekend. This has been the Indiana State Coaches Show on 105.5 The Legend.